Hey, P2.
Hey, mate, what's up?
Mate, now that I've got this boat here and I've got the electronics on the way, I'm going to need some fishing gear.
Mate, you can't look flash in that new rig without some new fancy fishing gear.
I know.
Mate, I can only recommend one thing. I would head over to the Dire Australia website, mate, and make yourself a little bit of a wish list and then head into your local tackle store and see if those legends can get it in. Because if there's one thing I know, mate, Dire Australia, they have it all. Whether you want a brand new rod, a nice new shiny reel, or some new line to go on it, then you're going to need some tackle, of course. They have it all. Dire Australia is your one-stop shop, and the big supporters here, the Two Pelicans Podcast.
Welcome back to another episode of the Two Pelicans Podcast. So you would have just missed that.
Loving
G'day, you Pelicans.
Here he was, he was sort of hung up on his
Go and
door.
have a good time with her a bit later on.
Pelicans landing in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to the Two Pelicans Podcast. I'm Joey.
And I'm Mick, and we are the Two Pelicans.
That's right, Mick. And we're here to do a couple of things each and every week. But the main thing is we are here for you, fellow Pelicans, to get you through that shitty old work week with a big old smile on your dial, Mick. And like we're hearing around the traps, we're here to make fishing great once again.
Mate, that's it. Little rumours have come out that other people are spruiking the old making fishing great again, but that's what we're here to do.
We're the OGs. We're going to claim the OGs.
OG stuff. Why not?
But, mate, here we are. We're episode 19, and we are on the eve of something very exciting. And I'm going to spruik it at the beginning of the show this week because it is literally, as this comes out, it is in a couple of days' time, mate. And it is episode 20, and it is going to be the Brush Grove live event, mate. I am very, very excited.
That's right. So 3 o'clock this Saturday, we're going to partake in a bit of a live show for an hour or two.
And when we say live, it's not streamed live. It's going to be live to those that are there.
They
get to experience the whole thing.
That's right. Yeah. But we will send that out on the next Thursday podcast. So.
That's right. We're going to record this Saturday, but that'll go out the following week. And let me tell you, there is going to be some absolute characters there. And there's some rumours, Mick, there is going to be some never told before yarns told.
Yeah, I'm a little bit nervous. We've got a few people that are coming that may push the boundaries of MA. But
Patreon's there for that reason.
But look, all in all, I'm sure it'll be a good crowd, and I think most people know what the limits are going to be. But after a few cans, you just never know, do you?
Mate, just a quick little bit of housekeeping before we dive into this week's show, because we have an absolute bumper in store, and I know I say that every week, but it's fucking true. It's going to be a belter.
Mm-hmm.
First thing is that this weekend we have a bus running to and from the Brush Grove Hotel, and that is leaving from Maclean, a yet to be decided location, probably around the boat ramp area, somewhere like that, pretty central.
Yeah, somewhere central in Maclean, but
we don't know who's going to be driving the bus yet. It could be P1, could be P2, but this is obviously going to be in the afternoon. The night time is going to be out of our control. But we have a bus running there, so jump on that, legends. We've already got 4 seats now taken.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, just jump on that if you can. Don't know how many of you guys are coming from down the river, but that is going to be available for you guys. I think something we haven't spoken about. We don't really know the numbers, Mick. We don't know whether there's 20, 50, 1,000. We have no idea.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be a few more than we actually think. And I think it's just the thing is, if you are coming, just keep in mind there is going to be other patrons in the pub. It's not just us, we're there to have a great time, but try and keep in mind there's going to be some other people there having dinner, hence why we're starting at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We should be wrapped up before that. But that's when we're going to sit back, relax, and have a beer with you, weapons. But mate, I think that's enough about this weekend. Everyone knows what they're doing. Come down 3 o'clock, have a beer. You're not going to be disappointed.
Yeah, and I just for everyone, just remember that we're having a bit of a casting comp. There's going to be a bit of a prize at the end of that, and one for the best yarn.
And it can be best as in the funniest, or it could be the best as a serious one, or it might be a fishing tale. It doesn't just have to be a fuck up.
That's right. I mean, P1 and P2 won't be voting for that. We're going to secretly try and pick someone out.
I've got a couple of little ideas there. We might be able to steal someone for that voting, but mate, without further ado, I think that's enough. Let's jump into this week's episode, and let's have a quick little bit of what has P1 been up to this week.
Mate,
it's been a big week.
It's been a big week. So I've done the power trip down to Victoria and back. Picked up a Bassco boat.
We have a boat.
We have a boat. So yeah, that was an interesting little power train in itself. and I'll save some of that later on for the mud gudgeon part. But look, happy to be back in New South Wales.
Yeah.
And happy for the boat to be at Yamba Yamaha. I spent a couple of hours on Friday with Robbie and Alex, sort of going through, what we're going to deck out, how it's going to look. The best thing about Alex, I think, that works there is that he just has so many ideas about how he can deck something out. He's a bit of a whiz.
Yeah, I must say I've actually been talking with the legends there just this week, and I'm getting a bit of work done to my boat myself. And I must say, go above and beyond to help, and more than happy to get some quotes, etc. And it's really refreshing to deal with some people like that. I got a bit of get up and go. So yeah, big shout out to Yamaha for all their help for both of us. I guess so. Over the last few weeks. So that's awesome, mate.
Yeah. So I'll probably cruise back down there later on this week, and we're just going to talk a little bit more about finals before we throw that stuff on. I've also just put up a quick video on YouTube just before I went and picked up the boat about the decision around buying the Bassco boat.
Yep.
And look, I'll probably roll more out on the Liquid's Existence channel in the following weeks on the build.
Sounds good, mate. Awesome.
What else have I been doing? That's probably that's really about it, other than playing with toys with mates and helping them move stuff and shift stuff and make stuff. That's really it for me. Though I like to just let you know this, a bit of trivia for you.
Oh,
right?
Here we go. This is good.
So I'm sitting there today, and I walk past the TV, and one of them bloody quiz shows are on. I forget which one it was, and they had a question about what was it? What is a bird symbol of Jesus?
Yeah, right.
It's a fucking pelican.
You're kidding me.
Nope. So here at the Two Pelicans,
Very religious, apparently.
We're Jeebus supporters. So there you go.
Amen, my brothers.
So apparently, and I'm sure some seabird person would be able to just clarify this, but the reason is that the pelicans actually pick away at their skin to feed their young if they can't supply the food.
So shout out to the Brush Grove Hotel. If you haven't got any food cooking on Saturday night, the patrons might be in trouble. That's wild. Now there you go. This is the hard hitting trivia you get here at the Two Pelicans Podcast. You don't get that elsewhere, do you?
No. I bet everyone wanted to know that.
Yeah, for sure. I needed to know that. Now I'm better off. No head noise now.
Yeah.
What have I been up to? I may have had just busy. I've just been busy since we last recorded. But I've actually gotten back in the jewfish saddle, which has been good. I had a couple of months break, and I've had 3 trips this week. I've been pumping the coast, which has been good, and got 3 nice fish, some nice legal ones, which has been good. But
on the small or a bigger Kunji Busters?
No.
Oh,
Diver bait junkies, my brother.
Bait junkies.
Yeah, so look, this time of year, you really even the wall or the headland, wherever you are. Like I do, fish in my wall. You tend to get that smaller run of fish come in.
Okay.
You get a lot of that 800, 900, which still is a cracking fish. And if you're going to take one, I bang on it about it all the time, but that is the right size to take. And look, when it's a little bit flatter and you don't get that whitewash and they're not sitting high up in the water column, it is very hard to go past a diver bait junkie, whether it be a 7-inch jerk shad or a 5.5-inch one of the new wave minnows. I'm digging it. So that's probably been me for the last week, mate.
Can I just ask, just with that, and for the people listening, when you say smaller fish, you mean smaller profile of fish running through the walls and headlands? Is that what you're saying, or you're talking about the jewfish size?
The jewfish size. So
okay.
like you typically get that run of schoolies sort of August on through those summer months. You still get some big ones lurking around, don't get me wrong, but you sort of that mullet runs over.
Yeah.
They're not as common, put it that way.
No,
the little ones are more common. So it's been a bit of fun. It's been good to get stuck into those, but right now all our concentration's turning to Saturday. A lot more planning to go, and that's probably well been me, mate. We might as well.
The pressure's on the tech for P2.
Look, I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be honest with the viewers. I've put a lot of time into this the last little bit. Our last episode, other than me swearing way too much, that I got pointed out a few times, it was faultless.
Yeah,
it was absolutely faultless. Everything worked. I've bought some special leads for this weekend because let me tell you, what old P1 over here wants to do is kind of like a logistical friggin' nightmare. But that's all right. P2 doesn't let anyone down, and we're going to make it happen.
We're going to make something happen.
We're going to have speakers blaring so everyone can hear what we hear through our headphones. We're going to be ringing yarns in. It's going to be all happening. So, anyway, let's get to a bit of news around the ground, shall we? On a side note, that has sort of become our little bit of a song there each week. I'm kind of digging that. I've had a bit of feedback on that.
Yeah. It's it's the character that we have, I think.
I just think it's bounce around. To be honest, it's the closest button to me on the little board that I press here. But, mate, I've got a heap this week to talk to and around the ground, so I'm going to let you do honours, mate.
Look, I'm some of the stuff I think you're going to bring up. So I'm gonna start off and just talk about the final round of the State of Origin that was held in Grafton over the last weekend.
Yeah, so local fishermen and actually listeners of the show, big supporters of the show, Dan and Wade. So Dan Clay and Wade Spencer took out the win. So a bit of a round of applause for those legends.
Well done.
Dan's a big supporter of our show. He loves the two Pelicans, and he's even going to probably make an appearance in a couple of days down at Brushy. So,
good.
Now, look, it is good to see, the locals going well, and he even did point out to me before in a text message that he won on the lure that he picked up on me on a couple of days beforehand.
Okay, was it a sponsor karma lure? Or?
No, it was a Bassman spinnerbait.
Okay,
so, local company supporting. It was actually a buzzbait, I should say, Bassman buzzbait. So, big shout out to those legends. That is a very good feat with some stunning anglers there in that field for sure.
And you mentioned maybe in that leading on to that Daniel sort of reached out, and this is what this platform's for our users is if you've got an event, a fishing competition, or anything that you want us to talk about, please message us or send an email into the twopelicans@gmail.com because we're happy to give it a plug. So, Joey, did you want to take away Daniel's message around the Bassco?
Yeah, so Dan, each year, I can't remember exactly how many years he's been doing this, but it's a considerable amount of years. He runs a bass social event from Lismore.
Yep.
So basically on the 3rd of November, so it's not that far away, from the Ballina Street boat ramp, you can head over. Sign on is from 5 a.m.
Yep.
Now, this is a family-friendly orientated event, and you'll understand why here. It's $10 a head.
Yep.
It's a brag mat event.
Yep.
So how it works is you sign on, you get your key tag, and you can go fishing anywhere. So you get in your car, you can drive down to Bungawob, and you can go over to Emmacon Creek, put your canoe in, you can put your boat in, you can fish the bank. You can go wherever you like, providing that your key tag's back on the thing at noon. So if you drove like a legend, you could go to Somerset Dam, catch a couple of crackers and drive back. Yeah, max power. Yeah. So it's your two biggest fish on the brag mat each. It's not a team's event, it's a singles event. Plenty of prizes to be given away. Bassman spinnerbaits have jumped on, a big supporter of his, awesome. Atomic. And this is all run in conjunction with the North Coast Brim and Bass, which we know it's our local club here. Any questions, you can either reach out to us. We can put you in contact with Dan or just DM Dan Clay on Facebook or the Wilsons River Bass Fishing page on Instagram. So, look, it's a great initiative. And the way Dan does it, I actually chatted him to the other day, and he said, basically, if you're a kid and you rock up, you're going to leave with something.
Yeah,
that's basically how it works. And it's not about catching the biggest fish. It's about getting those kids out there and Michael making fishing great once again.
Making fishing great and obviously getting the kids into, just that bit of bit more competitive fishing, I suppose, instead of the weekend stuff.
I think it's important too, like, I'm not one of these dads. We're both dads, sons and daughters.
Yep.
I'm not one of these dads that sort of wants everyone to get an award.
No.
But it is nice to get a little bit of recognition.
Yeah, that's right.
To get a spinnerbait, you paid your $10, so essentially you're buying yourself a prize or whatever. But that is that little bit of encouragement. I'm not with every football team winning every week. I'm not for that. Like the
participation award thing, I think, is some reasons as to why I think this current generation is struggling.
Yeah.
Along with obviously having to deal with COVID and being locked inside and not being out enjoying life. So I agree with that.
While we're actually on this subject, going down this little rabbit hole, I actually think this is quite neat. My young fella plays local rugby here in town.
Yep.
And this year at the presentation, so what they've done is they've got 3 main awards: the coaches award, best and fairest, and then like the best improved, something like that. So there's 3 main trophies for the team for the year. Yep. but everyone gets a little plaque. So last year, if you played under sevens, you get a little plaque.
Yep.
Now, each year, all you get is a little silver plaque that's engraved with the year group and the date. So it's not an award, but they feel that they're getting something. They get the little plaque and they stick it on. That's brilliant. It's not a participation award. It's a little memento to say, hey, you were in this team. You're a part of it.
Yeah, I think when we were growing up, like we did things like that where we got rid of the trophies and we made a shirt.
Yep.
You know, like we had a shirt, you know, soccer club of 19, whatever I was, 50 when I was that young. But you know, it's one of them things where I think now, look, I see it every week in the current stuff that I've seen with my younger son's soccer club that they hand out an award and it becomes like has everyone had a go of it sort of thing. And I think it creates a bit of anxiousness around the kids. I think it's just like, hey guys, you played well. You know, Joey, you done this good. Mate, you done that good. Is all listen. Well done. We'll see you next week. We're going to do it all again.
Yeah, and look, I'm going to have a little bit of a proud dad moment here. My young bloke was lucky enough to take away the coach's award, the little weapon. And let me tell you, does
he listen at home?
No. But look, I guess there's a little bit of motivation, whether you're 8 years old listening, which you shouldn't be, or you're 80 years old. My young bloke is far from the best football player on that field. He's in that bottom quarter, you know. But you know what? He turns up every week. He puts his boots on, pulls his socks up, puts that mouth guard on, straps that headgear on, and he runs out there and gives it fucking everything he's got.
Yep.
And that's all that matters, eh? And I know we're going down this tangent, but while I'm talking about this, it's so good to see, like, there's some footballers in my young fella's team, right, that could go and play on down the track. They're going to be something. And let me tell you, these two kids, if we handed the ball to these two kids each and every week and let them run, we would win every game. It is as simple as that.
Yeah.
But you know what happens when these two kids get the ball?
Yep.
They go over to whoever hasn't had it off their own bat,
good on 'em.
and they pass it around. So,
perfect.
Look, that gives you a little bit of hope and a little bit of hope. I guess
a little
for this
bit of
next
humility
generation.
as well.
Yeah.
Like I think at that age, recognizing that everyone has a bit of a go at that younger age is very important.
And nothing against the big cities and places like that, but I guess you're going to find that kind of thing a little bit more common in these little country towns as well. You know, people coming off farms, etc. So anyway, we've gone down that rabbit hole.
I'm going to go down another rabbit hole and go get a can. So just this might come as a shock to people here tonight, but Joey's not drinking alcohol, which is somewhat concerning for me. But I thought I'd go out in sympathy with him, so I got a sissy drink. So I'm
having a vodka, and I'm having a non-alcoholic ginger beer.
Yeah.
Look, a bit of a reason. I just thought I'd have a bit of a couple of dry weeks leading up to our big event at Brushgrove. I'm really going to look forward to hooking in with you, legends. And I think it gets to a point, you know, you just got to have a little bit of a break from these things. And I've replaced that with fishing. I've replaced that with getting stuck into my Jew fishing. If you have a few drinks, you obviously can't drive at midnight down to the beach to go fishing. So that's been really good and really enjoying it, actually, having a bit of a break, although I am going to lick my lips with a juicy old rum can at about 3:01 on Saturday afternoon. But
damn straight you will, Skippy.
Continuing back in here, I'm just going to... Do you have any more news before I carry on?
No, I think we'll touch on some things that you're going to bring up.
That'll
be good.
Unfortunately, this is a little bit of a sad one.
Yeah.
This week, the fishing community, not only of the Northern Rivers or of Australia, lost a legend.
Yeah.
Gary Squidgy Palmer, unfortunately, passed this previous week. If you knew Squidgy in any way, you would understand what a man he was. He was an absolute character, and I think, Mick, that is the best way to just leave it at that. He was a character. He was a one-of-a-kind man, and had a heart that he wore on his sleeve. And I was lucky enough to spend a lot of time with Squidgy in the early days, around tournaments and the shops down there, etc., and camped a lot with him. And he'll be sadly missed in the community, mate. I know he's touched a lot of locals here, and he was that larger-than-life man.
Look, if we could have another, I think, 100 of them, we would make fishing great again. But and obviously a mad league supporter, loved the bunnies and
loved the bunnies.
Queensland,
So
so
I think we will, even though we're not drinking a beer, we'll give a cheers, mate. Cheers to you, Squidgy, and your celebration later in the week, I'm sure, is going to be a fantastic time to remember the absolute legend you were. So just keep him and his family obviously in your thoughts this week because it's a very big loss to the community. But another bit of a sad one. Unfortunately, this week, mate, Steve Morgan, Fishing Monthly magazines, has come out and made the big announcement that unfortunately Fishing Monthly is going to close its doors. Now, sort of, I guess it's a bit of a thing now with small business. It was kind of inevitable, I guess. Like, and I'm not sort of trying to speak out of school there, but I know the challenges he had, printing costs, but big challenges are postage costs.
Yeah, 100%.
$10.95 to post an $8 magazine. Like, those mathematical figures don't add up.
No.
Obviously, for whatever reason, the online media, people don't like to read a magazine online. They like to sit it, flick it, sit on the dunny, whatever. So,
look, I'm just going to go out there and just say a few things in regards to this, and some people may or may not agree with these comments, but unfortunately, print media is going out the door, and I think we're going to miss a part of, I don't know, what I would call our daily intellectual skills by not picking up a newspaper, a magazine, or whatever the case may be. And unfortunately, we tend to just get our information now from social media platforms. Gone
are the days you grab a magazine to learn something, isn't it? We've got these things called
real
Apple
journalism.
Phones. And there's so much fake news. If it was in a magazine back then, it was normally pretty accurate, but now it's hard to know what to believe. But I would have loved to get Steve on, just to give us a quick little rundown, but he's actually at Tinaroo as we speak, fishing in the all-night ABT Barra tournament up there. So I'm not going to bother him. But we will get him on just for a quick little chat at some point, like I'm sure he's got a few things he'd love to get off his chest, and sort of point out to people that might not run a small business. Like, I run a small business myself, and there's challenges on the daily. Postage being a huge one of those these days. So anyway, I'm sure Steve's going to be fine. He's got some other great ventures, ABT, etc., and I'm sure he's going to dive into his social media more. So I guess from the two Pelicans, it'll be sad to see a magazine that we all grew up reading, but all the best, mate, and thanks for keeping us entertained over all those years. And
just a shout out to all the people that contributed to it over the years, because I'm pretty sure they done it for the love.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, for sure, mate. And they did it because they loved it. And we just talked about our dear Squidgy. He was a huge writer in a lot of the magazines across the years. So I know there's a little bit of a sad way to end the news, but there's just a couple of things we really need to talk about there.
It's unfortunately a sign of the times, and I think all print media is really walking out the door. I mean, 15, 20 years ago, we spoke about video stores. It's just one of them things. And I guess the thing that probably grinds my gears with it all is the idea that we are getting the information off social media now, and it's not a real great source of truth, as you pointed out. And that worries me.
Yeah, and the problem is, like, a lot of younger kids, like that 16, 18-year-olds, they don't have a lot of guidance in what to believe. So they get sucked into a lot of this garbage. So, it is sad to see. But anyway, we...
well, the last thing I was just going to say, I hope everyone had a bit of fun on the Gone Fishing Day that was last Sunday.
Yep.
Unfortunately, I was working and helping other people, but I did see around the traps there was a few events around, and people partook, and that was good.
Yeah, no, very good. And I did see a lot of posts out there, and a bit of a shout out. I saw Ozfish, one of our local sort of organisations. They travel all over the countryside. And I think even the Women Recreational Fishing League possibly got involved in that as well. Good. I saw something about that. So, good, mate, why don't we jump in to this week's topic, I feel.
I think we need like a different song for each topic that
we should do that. We could do that. We could have a different song.
That.
Yeah, okay.
We'll look, if anyone's listening, just shout out if you think we've got a good intro song that we could put up instead.
Yeah, licensing is a problem there. We'll worry about that.
That's all right. We'll worry about the licensing later.
We might have a new intro on the way. Stay posted.
Yep. Okay.
Mate, this is a bit of a you. I'm going to just bring the dirt in on this one, but this is your topic, brother.
We've sort of gone away from our topics the last few weeks. Obviously, we've had a few different things going on, but we've just sort of come back to this one merely because it sort of, I guess it sort of touched base with me recently from a work perspective, and that is, how do people access the waterways when there's not really a physical access there. So,
and when it's right and wrong to do so.
And when it's right and wrong to do so. Now, before I start this conversation, I'm not a solicitor, so don't take this as gospel. But I'm somewhat educated in this background.
Yeah.
But
so I was thinking, why don't we get my take on it that has no education on it, but just from a fisherman's point of view, and then you blast in with the actual facts. How does that sound?
Far away.
So my take on an angle access, and from this, we're probably talking about bank bashing canoeing more so than a boat. Like you can't really just drop a boat in.
That's right.
Anyway, so we're referring to bank bashing and canoe drop-ins, etc.
Fly fishing, trout fishing.
Oh, yep. Anything where you're on that bank. So from my point of view, if it is an angler access or a public access point, you can walk along that point until you get to a fence.
Yeah.
Once you access a fence, there's normally a little sign. You cross that, well, I'm sorry, bud, you're in the wrong.
Yeah.
If you go to a said access point and you throw your kayak in, though, you can kayak up and down that river.
That's right.
As far as you please, providing you don't go above the legitimate high tide mark.
Yep.
High water level mark, I should say.
High level mark.
Now, the thing is, if you're in your canoe and you paddle along out west or whatever, and I'm using out west because this happens out there quite regularly, an old farmer Bob comes down, starts flinging around his 12 gauge, telling you to fuck off. While you're in the right, just go.
Yep.
Head off, call the authorities, make a complaint because he's not in the right to do so.
Yeah.
That is my opinion as a fisherman, and I've always believed like that. I will not go anywhere where I'm not allowed to be, and if you want to go on private property, you get permission and access. Even get them to write you a letter.
Yeah, that's
right.
Do
something, but that's my take on it, mate. But I'm sure you're going to clarify a few things.
Nah, look, I think what you've just said there is really the common sense approach, in my opinion, right? So, but for a lot of people out there that are aware of it, there's crown roads and paper roads, and they are recognised as legal access to the waterways where they're open. Now, it gets a little bit tricky because whilst you see a little road on the map there, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's there. And this is where it comes back to maybe getting to know the landowner that you want to walk down to go through to this place first, because you could potentially plot it out with a GPS tracker, right, and make sure you stay within that corridor. But there's no way that anything can be really fully identified unless it's surveyed.
Yeah.
Okay. So whilst you think and know that there's a crown road there, you can potentially do it. Now, where it gets a little bit sticky is that you start walking down this crown road and there's a dam there now.
Yeah.
In the way, right? Because these roads were put down in the 1800s.
Yeah.
And only thinking of really walking at the time.
Yeah.
Cars weren't considered. And, that's where there's other little acts that people could get around, but I'm not going to get into that too much. But the other thing that I want people to be aware of is that just because there's a bit of a dam or something there, it's also probably not a public waterway.
No,
right?
Exactly. So,
right.
I think Google Maps has a lot to blame for that these days, especially that younger generation. They jump on their phone and see a cool little creek or something like sweet and sort of have a bit of tunnel vision, Mick.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
just V-line to the creek, not realising you might have gone through a gate that you might not have, should have gone through the gate.
Yeah. And it's quite common for a lot of streams and that they did actually put crown roads along the streams for a few reasons, because back then, or TSRs for that matter. So back then, obviously TSRs were considered like the basic highways for humans in the way of traversing up and down and mustering cattle, moving them to abattoirs, other stations, so on. So it made sense to have it on the waterway because A, there'd always generally be feed there, and B, there was a water supply. So it made sense to do that. And we still have them TSRs around in place. However, you need to be probably aware of the rules and camping on there. Now, There's a lot of illegal camping that goes on, and you know what? They just haven't got the time to deal with it.
At the end of the day, use the TSR for fishing in.
Yeah,
Stay somewhere else, go in there, access the river.
Yep.
And I guess I might get fired out of here for saying this, but in New South Wales, we have fucking terrible access to waterways. We don't have great access. Now, I fish a lot out in the border, Queensland border. They have TSRs every 2 seconds along the border. There's a TSR here. There's a TSR here. You go through a nice gate. You leave it shut behind you. Leave a gate as you find it. Everyone's happy days.
Yeah.
New South Wales itself is pretty orderly. You head into Victoria, there is angler access points everywhere.
Yeah, that's
Mown
right.
grass to the edge of the river. Like, it's phenomenal. So I guess for the lack of facilities in New South Wales can explain maybe why people do try and do the things they're doing.
Yeah. And I might get pulled over the barrel here, but I think a lot of that has to do with what the Farmers Federation want.
Yep.
In that respect, and they've sort of approached, I think, government agencies and lobbied government agencies to try and close some of these access points, and they have. I'll be honest with you, it has happened. However, the flip side of it is that we also don't want any social behaviour happening on our mate's property next door or something like that. I believe that there's got to be a balance.
Yeah, for sure.
And the thing would be for me is that there's nothing worse, and you would have seen this when you've gone down to a particular waterway and someone's just left shit everywhere.
Yeah, and it's that minority that ruin it for the rest. And that, like, I'm going to use the Clarence River as an example. Like, when I was growing up, you could go on every Tom, Dick and Harry's place to be more than happy to let you in.
Yeah.
And now, a lot of that private access is closed up, and you've got only a couple of entry points at bridges, etc.
Yeah, that's right.
And then a few hip camps open up along the way and fuck the whole show. So it's look, it is a shame, but it's just the way it is.
Yeah, and I know that some of the government agencies sort of look at, a 5 to 10 kilometre points to sort of see if there's access on them points or in and around that, and they really will consider, if something was going to be closed up or land was going to go somewhere else or do whatever, they would really consider the options about somewhat retaining a part of that access.
Yeah, and I guess you're one of these younger guys, and you plan a big camping trip or something out, say west on a river or something like that, and you're like, man, I'd like you said, there's a gazette. It looks like a gazetted road, but it's not a gazetted road. It says F off, or we'll shoot you at the gate. Don't go down there. Now, my advice to you is, if there's a farmhouse accessible, just call on by. Give them a wave as you come in. Let them know that you're there on good terms, and have a yarn. Like, hey, mate, like, we're keen fishing.
Yeah.
I see you've got the river on your property. Unfortunately, a lot of the time these days, they're going to just straight up say no.
Yeah, that's right.
But, a carton of VB or a carton of 4X talks wonders, You rip one of them out of the back seat, and the next thing you know, old mate's letting you on the farm. So it's got to be a little bit reciprocal.
Yeah, that's right.
A little bit reciprocal. But like you said, respect the land, because if you ruin it, no one else is going to be able to go in there.
And I think it also, it really aligns with what I feel my other mates do around hunting and that as well. Like, I remember maybe 5 or 6 years ago, they're like, oh, yeah, we've only got 1 or 2 properties to hunt on. But now they've got a quiver of them.
Yeah.
And it's only just building up that relationships, whether they roll into a pub or they know someone else from the last trip. And he goes, man, I've got 10,000 acres over here. Come over here.
And you're never going to set the world on fire with that first trip. But the more trips you go back to maybe that farm, you're like, oh, well, mate, there's a nice hole down here, or I'll let you into me back paddock. So I guess if you want to get into that private land, you just got to kind of be smart about it. And it's who you know, not what you know at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's right.
Mick, with a lot of this, there's some horror stories.
Yeah, there is.
There's some absolute horror stories with some of the wild stuff that goes on, and I've got one.
Yeah, yep.
I'm going to share. This isn't me. This is on behalf of another fella, and I was actually going to give him a call tonight to get him to tell the story, but a little bit of maybe didn't want to be attached to this yarn, which is understandable, maybe for legal reasons. And he's also out of reception tonight.
Yep.
So a good mate of mine was on a western flowing stream. We'll say that, chasing Murray cod.
Yep.
Put in at a access point, a gazetted access point at a bridge.
Yep.
A-okay to put in. So paddled up and down, no dramas, and we'll call him, I don't know, Henry. Old Henry the farmer Rambo, because he was dressed like Rambo. Old Rambo comes down.
Well, that's worrying in itself.
Yeah, so apparently he had like the double clips over his shoulders, like the big semi-automatic magazines.
Wow.
And he had the camo headgear on, and he was like the full deal.
Shit.
And he just lets rip with the semi-auto, which unless you have a special grade license, I'm pretty sure you're not even allowed to have those in New South Wales.
Yep.
Starts letting rip across about 20 metres in front of the boys' canoes.
Wow.
And about 20, 30 shots. And the boys went, holy, like, we're in a bit of strife here.
Yep.
And at the time, these boys aren't overly old either, sort of like just 20s.
Yeah.
And so then they've bailed and they've gone, and old mate's bailed them up at their car and starts yelling at them, and they thought they were in a bit of strife.
Wow.
But they did the right thing. They diffused the situation and sort of said, "Oh, sorry, mate, we thought we'll be allowed to be here," which they were. They were 100% in their right.
Yeah.
They weren't breaking any rules at all. But yeah, got back to some service and obviously contacted the correct authorities.
Yes.
Because this can't go on. Like,
No.
This isn't a thing. We actually had an incident here on our local waterway. I won't say exactly where. But the guy had a shooting range set up off his veranda all up and down the river, and he'd have targets hanging in the bush. So you could be electricking along and him not know you were there, and then ting, ting, he'd start shooting.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, that got nipped in the butt pretty quick.
Yeah.
But, yeah, look, there is some horror stories out there. And if you have a horror story of something that's gone bad or good, or you've had someone on your property that shouldn't have been there doing the wrong thing, or maybe you were on a property where you're allowed to be and something happened, let us know.
Yeah. And look, let's just take a moment. I mean, like, Fred and Irk there are on that property trying to make their keep right. And look, it may not have been you. You're probably the person that's done the right thing, but I can bet you $100 that someone's been on there.
Yep.
And basically broke their trust for all fishermen.
Yeah, 100%, mate. Yeah, there's that one turkey that ruins it for everyone, unfortunately. And that's not just with fishing, that's with everything. Hunting. Look at shooting now.
Yeah.
Like, look at the restrictions on that. So I think it's like anything. If you do the right thing, it's going to be a good experience for everyone, for a good time. A long time, not a good time.
Yeah. 100%.
What else you got there, mate?
Mate, look, I think that'll wrap it up.
It's not a big topic, but
it's
I thought
not
it was
a huge
just
topic, but it's something just that I just want to make I guess people aware that, and you brought up a really, really great point before that, and I do notice that Google tend to drop pins on, or people get the pins on to Google. And once again, talking about, I'm not saying Google's social media, but at the same token, it's sort of false. It can be false evidence. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not correct. It's
just because it said the road there was a road there like in the 80s, like what you said, or the 1800s, for instance.
Well, the thing is, people can have private roads and have them named and everything, but they're a private road and they're not a public road, and they're very two quite different things. There's easements as well.
Yeah.
So it could be a beautiful formed up track that may lead to the water, but it's really an easement for the people that own the property and the one next door, and no one else.
And I think it's just important that if they do ask you to move on or pull you up, just respect the farm, whether you are in the right or the wrong.
Yeah.
Like I said, go to the authorities, discuss it with them if you think
that's right. That's right. If you think
it's not in your hands.
Yeah, if you think that you're in your means, don't try and sort it out there and then.
Because if you're west of the range, there's 12 gauges of plenty.
Yeah.
But, mate, let's, what do you reckon we move along and dive into, should we try a new sound for mud gudgeon?
Yeah, right.
I don't know what I've got here. Let's draw something.
Okay.
There we go. That can be mud gudgeon. I don't know if I'm digging that. We might get some new tunes.
I feel like we're just in a rave party, really.
Oh. We've got some good ones. Oh, here we go. A bit of Snoop Doggity Dog. Yeah, I think that's a mud gudgeon from I like that one. We need to label these, mate.
Yeah.
Mate, hit us. I've got a bit of an idea what this is, and I think this is going to be a beauty.
Look, what can I say? So, my mud gudgeon of the week is Mexico. And what I mean by Mexico, I'm talking about Victoria. I got down there the other day, and let's just say I wasn't quite acclimatized to the conditions, and I can't handle the cold. I fucking hate it.
Not a fan, mate.
I fucking hate it. Anyhow, I get down there. I'm trying to sort out accommodation. And you know what? A little bit my fault. Like, I sort of left at the last minute, but I didn't really know exactly when I was going to head down there. But anyhow, I get down there and I'm scratching around, whatever, all good. And then I go to this pub, and like I've just driven like 15 hours, and I have to commend this guy, but also criticize him at the same time, right? So, look, it's a pub. It's going for 18 months. He's having a crack. He's having a go.
Good on him. That's what we hear about.
He's there doing trivia. But the funny thing is, he's doing the trivia, and there's two blokes just like a meter away from him, but he's calling it like he's calling it to the whole pub. And it's so loud. And I'm sitting there. I was talking on the phone to, I think I was sorting insurance out for the boat, and then I think maybe I rang you and my wife and a few other people. And all I can hear in the background is this guy just screaming trivia questions. One was something to do about Moby Dick, and I'm just like, it's Herman. Someone just. Oh, do you know what it is, mate? You want to come in? You want to join in? No, I just want to fucking drink my beer and talk to other people. But thank you.
Give me all the questions, I'll answer them so you can shut the fuck up.
Yeah, and then anyhow, he's like, oh, mate, do you want to try some of our local beef jerky? Like, he was having a go.
He's having a go.
He's having a go. I was just grumpy, I think. Maybe I'm the mud gudgeon. But anyhow, I get there and I wake up the next morning and it's fucking 2 degrees. I didn't pack any warm clothes.
Oh, so you were cranky.
I was cranky. I went and picked up my boat. I went and picked it up off Mick, and I just said, he just looked at me, and I think he was just thinking, like, what are you walking around in shorts for?
Because I'm freezing.
Yeah. So anyhow, Victoria, the other thing that I was going to add to that was I was going to go on a little holiday about this time next year with maybe a mate or two down there for a month.
Change of plans?
Big change of plans.
We're going to North Queensland?
We're going to North Queensland, brother.
Cairns? Can I come?
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Tins are plenty. I'll be back on the beers by then.
Yeah, righto. What, are you having a 12 months off?
No. 2 weeks is enough. So I did mention that I had a mud gudgeon. And we're here recording at lovely Casino Outdoors again tonight. Yes. And I was working here today, and I tell you what, I was looking around there when I went and got my other can, mate. You've got this place absolutely fucking stocked. There is some serious stock, and I ordered another huge order today, Dyer Australia. There's shit everywhere, mate. We are a little store here, but we try and cater for everyone, and I think that's your one-stop shop. You can roll into BCF and pick up pretty well everything. Well, this is the mini one, so you can roll in here and pick it up all. But so I was in here today, and it was pretty quiet. But with better stuff. Better stuff. Heaps better stuff. Not Wanderer. Oh, I can't say that. We better cut that out. Anyway, I've been in here all day, and I had a bit of Lewis stuff to do, gluing up some eyelets and bits and pieces. And it was really quiet today. It was a really quiet day, and it was raining, it was miserable. No one was out and about. So it was good to give me a chance to glue up some Lewis. So about 4 o'clock on, I'm like, I'll just finish off gluing this last 30 up. So bang, 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 smashed them up, glued them all up. Happy days, I've just rolled in here before, and I had about 6 left, and I got here a couple of minutes early. And I was like, I'm just going to quickly go out there and glue up this other 6. And I picked up my little epoxy gluing little thing. I mix it in. I'm like, why the fuck's that still tacky? That should have gone off by now. I'd mixed 2 lots of resin together. Oh, no. Instead of a resin and a hardener. Shit. And I've gone through all 30-odd lures, and every eyelet's just pulled out because the glue's still sloppy. So I've had to go through and pull every single one out. I'm going to have to re-drill them tonight and re-glue them. So I am the mud gudgeon of the week. So I can wear that one, mate. But look, we're probably going to wrap up here shortly, but we don't have any yarns this week. We're saving ourselves for next week for the old brushy event. Yeah, we're going to save some bits and pieces for that. Yeah, we've got some stuff coming through, but I've had some stuff here in the past, and I wanted to try and play it, but it's never worked. I've had a bit of motivation stuff or a bit of... we need a bit of motivation here. A bit of funny stuff, and I've got a couple of little things, and I'm not trying to pinch the thunder of other podcasts that do a bit of this stuff, but there's some stuff here to do with small business, etc., that's relatable for both of us. But this first one, you're going to get a good giggle out of this. I'm going to hit you with this. This is just a bit of a funny one, a bit of comedy here for our Thursday morning, and this is from the Bremer Prov over on Instagram. I'm going to hit this one. Here we go.
Guy with a hat on the other day. It said, I'm an alcoholic. My favorite thing in the world is drinking outdoors, and I want everyone to know it. Well, it didn't say all that. It just said Yeti.
And I thought that was an absolute pisser. I was like, you know what? That pretty well sums it up. I love that one. So a shout out to that one. I'm going to roll another one here if you don't mind, mate.
That's all right. I'm going to send you something before you do that. I'm going to send you something, and I want you to play this. Before you play it, we're just going to quickly...
Where are you sending it to me here, brother?
On your Insta, wherever you are. There you are. Look at that.
Righto, here we go. We're gonna play mix little. See, this is great. Now we've got this
is just random shit that I actually received from one of our listeners called Mr. Bumpy.
Righto, here we go. We're gonna hit this.
Yeah, go. But all it is a dude just putting boxes over people in the fucking street, like big, like 6 foot boxes.
We're not even playing here, mate.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, but that's a bit wild, isn't it?
Yeah,
There's a couple of feelers kissing there.
Yeah, just fucking random. Like they're getting into the cardboard box there, but
And he's throwing a big old fridge box over him.
yeah,
And they got no idea what's
if you look at that page, if you go back,
that was a P2 problem I've got.
There you go. Just go to his page for 1 second, and just pick any other one. There's some fucking crackers.
Yeah. What do we
just keep looking for boxes.
Boxes.
Are you looking at the right thing?
Am I on here? No, is that it?
I
think we've had a fail here.
Maybe you click the other
quality. Quality content here. Here we go. Is this it? No, I don't know what
you selected the same one.
We'll have to hunt that for next week.
Yeah, but anyhow, long story short, this guy.
Go over and have a look.
This guy has made a nice little career out of putting boxes on people on Instagram.
It's a bit of a giggle there, isn't it? Yeah, that's
random. Just random
funny.
shit.
If you just type in box over people on YouTube, I'm sure it'll come up.
Yeah.
Right, I'm going to hit you with this one now. For someone that started their own small business from the scratch, ground up, this is pretty relatable. You know, like you always hit that bumpy road, and you know that nothing's ever smooth sailing, unfortunately, these days. But I've had this one for some time, and I really, really just like. I think this one just hits home. Basically, you know, it's pretty relatable. This is from the Growth Corner for you over on Instagram. So I'm just going to hit this one.
You stay in your comfort zone. That's where you will fail. You will fail in your comfort zone. Success is not a comfortable procedure. It is a very uncomfortable thing to attempt. So you got to get comfortable being uncomfortable if you ever want to be successful.
Now, how relatable is that? You know, like sometimes you get in an icky situation, but it's normally for the better, mate. It's normally there's a reason.
It's relatable on a lot of levels.
Yep.
Like we all know, and we've all had them stages, I think, in life where we've got to go find another gear, and we know that it's going to be a grind, uncomfortable, whatever you want to call it. But we know we have to get to that point to get to the next step or to get to where we need to be. And everyone has a different threshold for that.
Yeah, 100%, mate. Yeah. And I think a lot of times, you know, I'll be in a situation there in the shed and you're like, oh, this really sucks. I don't like where I'm at right here. You know, something's not sitting well. Or like there, I could get flustered about what I've done there tonight with the wires, you know, but now I'll know I'll never, ever do that again, you know. Like that's never going to happen again. This is one of those learning. But I'm just going to roll one more. I'm going to... Throughout the show, we've probably talked about a bit doom and gloomy stuff. You know, there's a couple of sad things there at the beginning of the show, and we talked about a bit of a serious topic today. This here, I'm pretty sure I'm going to play the right one here. This is going to lighten everyone's day up.
Is that the midget porn one?
No. Oh, hang on. What have we done here?
It is a midget porn one.
No, it's not. Definitely not. Here we go.
Right.
It's time to kick the shit out of today with more gusto than a herd of unicorns on Rise and Shine, you sassy little taco. It's time to kick the shit out of today with more gusto than a herd of unicorns on Red Bull. Pour yourself a cup of fuck yeah and chase it with a double shot of I don't give a damn. Today, you're not just conquering the day, you're slaying it with the finesse of a ninja on Adderall. So put on your big girl pants, throw on your cape of confidence, and show the world what you're made of. Your goal, tackle each challenge like a boss, own your destiny like a damn queen, and make this day your bitch. Let's do this.
I love that.
Is it bad when, like, some days I wake up and I do that and I'm going to make my day the bitch and I'll just go straight to the fridge and crack a can?
No, absolutely not. You've just won. You've won the day there straight up. But look, I'm going to just drop a few of those little things in there because I've had a big day or whatever, and I lay down at night and I have a bit of a scroll, as we all do. We go down the rabbit hole
rabbit warrant
of the reels. But I think some of that's really relatable. You know, it just gives you that little pick me up that you might need.
Yeah. And you know, like I think we touched base on it there before that. Just always reach out and keep in contact with your mates. Make sure everyone's going okay in your friendship circle.
There's so many agencies out there now, Mick. There's so many online things.
There's so many online things.
Yeah.
There's I guess, and if there's anyone that's very young listening to this show, I can tell you now, when I was kicking around, there wasn't much. And there's lots out there. And it's a lot more easier to get involved with it if you need to reach out.
Because us as men, we don't know. Like we go to the pub to sit and have a beer. You don't want to be all doom and gloom. You know, you're there to have a fat time. So
that's right.
Yeah, it's a really good point, and that's something we really want to touch on throughout this our whole podcast moving
Our whole
forward,
podcast. I think moving in later into it, we'll go into that a little bit deeper
for sure,
and hopefully get one or two guys involved in that as well.
But yet again, mate, it's been unreal. This has been a really good show this week. I've toned the swearing down for you, Nancy's.
We're just trying to be more serious this week before the weekend, where it's not going to be really serious.
It's going to be a fat time, and mate, Spotify is blowing us away.
Yep.
All those avenues have been unreal. The support, yet again, is just blowing us away. So keep on that rolling, legends. All your yarns. I've noticed, Mick, we've got a bit of an overseas following. A bit of South Africa, a bit of Canada, and a bit of the USA. So if you are listening from over there, thank you very much, and we would love
to hear from you.
We'd love to hear from you, and I think this is going to be the end of this week's show. Is going to be this week. Tell us where you're from. Send us in a message. It can be to our 2pelicans@gmail.com email, or it can be at 2pelicans over on Facebook. Just a recording, whatever it might be, and say your name's Billy and you're from Canada. We'll start wherever you're from. Let us know. So, and
might even throw up a pretty loose poll about where you're from.
Let's do that. And if you legends can ring in the next couple of days, we can play it at our 20th episode and let everyone know where we're from.
We'd love to get a few more yarns, I should say, for that live episode. It'd be really good. Don't get me wrong, we're going to get a few people probably talking there with their own yarns.
For sure, up with us, for sure, mate.
Yeah.
But, mate, this has been a unreal episode again, and we just want to give a huge shout-out to all the legends keeping our lights on here at the 2 Pelicans, and let me tell you, there's going to be a few little exciting things coming down in the future, some giveaways, a couple of legends hopping on board with some pretty serious prizes, mate.
Yeah, I can't wait for this, and we're just going to have to figure out how we're going to divvy it all out. But we'll
got a few little ideas, but yet again, guys, we really appreciate you weapons and all that support. Hang around, episode 20's coming. I'm absolutely pumped. I cannot wait. Yet again, I am Joey.
I'm Mick, and we are the 2 Pelicans.
Can't wait to catch us.
Give it to me,
Give it to me.
Is that done?
I think so.